this splendidly refurbished opera house, I am startled as Aida appears to turn directly to me and begins to sing, "Oh my country, what you cost me." Raising her arm, she points, and there it is. Yes, over there, just to my left. The memories flood in. I see it again, as though it was only yesterday. A magnificent marble statue of the crucifixion. Look closely, Aida. One of the thorns from the crown that adorns Christ's head is missing. You'll have to read the book to find out the significance of that. He escapes in very dramatic fashion from the opera house, and he is in a van loaded with some arts treasures that is to be delivered to the Germans, and he's trying to get out of the van. This is the chapter, I'll just read a part of it, entitled, gotta check my time here, entitled Freedom. I don't need to, oh, this is slightly steamy here, very little, but so he's trying to get out of the van. He's locked in the van is speeding towards Warsaw right now. I don't need to find the partisans, because that was his plan, was to get out of the van and join the partisans, which is true. There were large groups of partisans in Belarus who were fighting the Nazis and doing very well at it. I don't need to find the partisans, they find me. I am digging frantically at the door with my stone weapon when the world explodes beneath me. When I awake, I am lying in what appears to be some kind of underground hut, with my broken leg encased in primitive splints, fashioned from boards that look suspiciously like those which, when last I was conscious, enclosed a statue of Christ on the cross and a stowaway. That's how he escaped. Strangely, I feel almost no pain from my leg, but my buttocks are screaming at me as though someone has been digging around with a shovel, which, it turns out, is pretty much what was going on. My groans arouse an old woman who is nodding off in a corner. Stiffly, she rises to her feet and hobbles to the pile of rags that serves as my bed. Bending over in the dim light is a face the weather has beaten into something resembling a burlap bag. Picture Willie Nelson without the beard, banana, or guitar. Her laugh, as she holds up a jagged piece of metal nearly the size of my fist, reveals a fine set of gums, but not a single tooth. Saying something in Polish that I cannot understand, she whacks her rump with the chunk of metal, then yanks it away quickly with one hand, while pointing to my rear with the other. Another laugh. I hate to say cackle, but in truth that's more descriptive. An unlikely angel. Someone, I hope to high heaven not her, has removed what is obviously a chunk of shrapnel from my buttocks. What I am able to piece together in the coming days is that, in fact, it is this old lady who set my broken leg, hacked out the shrapnel and patched up several less serious wounds to my legs and back, thus undoubtedly saving my life. Even with the primitive equipment available, her skill is such that all I have to remind me today of a partisan's roadside bomb that shattered the truck and killed the driver in the armed guard is a small, star-shaped scar in my right buttock, and as I roll her, a slight limp. I have no idea what her real name is. She never tells us. To all of us who spent time in that tiny hole in the ground, she is simply Bobina, or sometimes Baba, which I eventually figure out is Polish for old woman or grandma. I am told she escaped from Warsaw as the Nazis were jamming Jews into that infamous ghetto, and that while she spent most of her life milking cows in a dairy farm, she had some training as a veterinarian. One of the wounded who joins us is a young, quite attractive Polish woman whose right hand has been partially blown off by the premature exploding of a mine she was setting near a German checkpoint. One day, as she and Bobina are chatting quietly in a corner, I notice them throwing amused glances in my direction. With a slight nod, Bobina stiffly clambers up the short ladder leading to the surface, leaving the two of us alone. Bobina's legs have barely disappeared from view when my little Polish partisan, without a word of warning, tears off her clothes, yanks down my blanket, and with a fierce cry mounts me with marvelous vigor. Remember those days? Startled, fearful for the safety of my damaged limb, I try to push her off. Then, realizing that my leg is as much up to the task as everything else, I quickly get into the spirit of things. And there, on a sorry bed of rags, in a Kurapati forest Zimlanka, surrounded by a world gone mad with death and destruction. We take of life what life can give. Finally, exhausted, we clutch each other like desperate lovers. It's not love, but it's all we have. I want to, have we got a couple more minutes? How's my time?
Yeah.